Now this is something else. I can't be funny about this. This is terribly serious. What I'd like to... This is the slaving ship Brook, or Brooks. Nobody was quite sure whether it was Brook or Brooks. We'll call it Brook. I want a show of hands again. Get ready for shows of hands, people. There's a lot of, you're going to have to react. Who has seen this before? Not enough. Thank you very much. Not enough. By now, I would have thought everyone here would have seen it in their primary or secondary school, or if not, in their foundation course. And I'm very sad that you haven't seen it. However, here it is. Here's the story. So we have the light up. The lights are kind of funny, Sean, aren't they? The lights are very on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there you are. I need eyeball contact. In 1789, and that's a date to conjure with, what else happened in 1789? Okay, just a revolution. In 1789, before the Parliament, the House of Commons, there came the Wilberforce Committee's proposals for the abolition of slavery. The committee was called the Wilberforce Committee in the way that we still have it, calling the committee after the chairman. We'll bring the lights down again in a minute to show this. What we need is something between this. Turn it off. Yeah. Have you got a gimmick? Ah. Yeah, get it on.
Lights on, lights on.
No, we can't. Oh, that's it. There we are. Okay, so thank you, Sean. Now, what they did, among other things, I shall remember this lecture for one thing. Vagaries of the lighting system. I shall remember this lecture. Put me over it. One of the features of this presentation was a set of plans of an actual slaving ship called Brook. An actual slaving ship. The Wilberforce Committee laid hands on these from the government who kept records of all the slaving ships they had licensed to carry slaves across from West Africa to the West Indies and the southern states of America. Well, what a man was asked to do, and he was on a predecessor, a graphic artist like us, a man called Hemsley. We know he's called Hemsley because his name is down there at the bottom right-hand corner, Hemsley, was asked to draw and engrave the bodies of slaves onto the plans of the book. He had to crush them in. Every interstice was filled with slaves. Where there weren't enough spaces for adults, there would be children. Here, for example, are 3 rows of children because they couldn't get adults in. There are 3 decks, 1, 2, and 3 up there. And there this shows you the side view. Now look at the side section there. That's up here. There are 2 views of it. And you can see how shallow the decks are. There is only 18 inches space for a human being to lie, only to lie. Couldn't sit up, could only lie. Had to lie there until twice a day he was allowed up once, or she, allowed up once to have a shit and piss, and once to have food. And the rest of the time, they lay there. They lay there. And some of them died there. They died from disease, some from malnutrition because they weren't fit to get up and get their food. Some of them, if there was a trouble at sea, were thrown overboard, alive. Sometimes, if the owner of the ship had shoved too many slaves into his boat, and he saw a government boat coming alongside to check on his complement of slaves, he threw over the excess, alive. Mr. Hemsley had got everyone in that he possibly could, crammed into every crevice, every crack. He counted 450 bodies, men, women and children. When they looked at the government allowance for this ship, how many bodies they could carry, there was allowance for 450. 5 more than allowed for. How did they get the others in? No one ever knew. However, when Wilberforce told the House of Commons this, everyone was deeply moved, as I hope some of you are by this fearsome account. However, although they were moved, and although it was a very striking visual metaphor, which was remembered long, long after, slavery was not abolished until when? This was 1789. When? Not until 1807. God help us. Why did it take so long? And that was only the slave trade. That wasn't the use of slaves in the colonies. They went on until 1830, British colonies, and until 1863, 64 in the American colonies. Well, I hope that those of you who saw that, have just seen this image, will never, ever forget it. It is one of the most powerful images, powerful visual metaphors of slavery I've ever seen. And yet, it's just factual, isn't it? It's just careful engraving of real-looking bodies lying in the decks of a real-looking ship. So visual metaphors don't have to be exotic, they don't have to be overwhelming, they just have to be powerful in their intention, what they intend to show. So that is called a slavery ship, a weapon of the Wilberforce Committee. Let's try another slide. Oh, no. Let's try another slide. Here again, even more mundane, even more passionless. This is a diagram of, guess what, Napoleon's to march with his army, the Grand Army, from the border between Poland and Russia, which is on the left, to Moscow, which is on the far right, and then the march back. The march there is shown by that sort of buff-looking colour, that lighter colour, and the march back is shown black. Here's the genius of it, done by a man called Renard, who was a French civil servant, much after the actual invasion of Russia in 1812. Oh, 50, 60 years later. What he did was to express the size of the army by the width of that flowing stripe. At the beginning, see several 100,000 men marching boldly into Russia. Here they are. See how they become defeated on their route there, and see their size when we get to Moscow, which is a useless journey because the Russians have set fire to the town. The whole town is burning. There's nothing for Napoleon to do. One of the most stupid military mistakes in the whole history of warfare. And then he has to come back. He has to come back in the winter. And during the winter, the temperature goes down and down. Look, here's the temperature when it starts. You see the temperature going down and down on his way towards the border to get out of Russia. As many men died from cold, sheer temperature deaths, and from starvation as from attacks by the Russians. When they got back, look how pitifully small the army is compared to the size it was when it left. Now here is, which is when they came back, they were just less than 10,000 men. Napoleon had left them, all for the very best of reasons. He had urgent business in France. So he left about here. And the French army struggled over the border into Poland a few weeks afterwards. Now this is a very sober, sort of even boring looking diagram, but I believe, those of you who haven't seen it, can't help being moved at the plight of all those men on this pathetic route to Moscow and back. So that is a great visual metaphor in the form of a statistical graph of all things. So I asked you to accept this particular point, made already on the previous slide, of the importance of statistical information shown in the most straightforward fashion. No fuss. Now, let me see. Is it time for another film clip? Yes! Now this is a film, the beer garden sequence from oh, you want to get rid of the slide? Yes. Oh dear. Stoner Crow's technology strikes
Can I
again.
give that to you and just hold it from the left?